Haiti. And today we end in Haiti, where nearly 200 people were killed due to a personal vendetta by a local gang leader whose son died on Saturday. The massacre took place in one of the poorest neighborhoods in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. Now, according to human rights activists, mostly elderly people who practice voodoo were targeted by a gang leader, Monel Felix. This after Felix was reportedly told that elderly people from the slum performed witchcraft on his son that made the child fatally sick. The United Nations said the gang members hacked at least 184 people to death using just knives and machetes.
Community testimonies suggest that the actual death toll is much higher, as mutilated bodies were burned in the streets.
The vast majority of victims were over the age of 60, but some younger people who were trying to save others were also killed. A human rights group said this is not the first time that Felix has been accused of killing older people who practice voodoo. The gang leader was allegedly responsible for killing 12 elderly female practitioners back in 2012. Now, experts say Haiti is seeing more killings and lynchings than ever after gangs launched their attacks against the government and people.
In Haiti, we have a situation of escalating violence. In fact, ever since coinciding actually with the installation of the new prime minister on the 11th of November, you will recall that the airport was closed down as a result of gangs shooting at incoming airplanes. And so that, of course, was a very critical moment for Haiti. But also to say that since then, the gangs have escalated in terms of violence.
The United
Grand Rising, my lovely butterflies. This is the Awakened Butterfly, and I am back with another video. If this is your first time coming across my channel, please stay for the entire video or check out some of my existing content. If you enjoy this type of content, please don't hesitate to subscribe. Welcome and welcome back to the channel, guys. I pray that everyone is having a blessed and amazing day or night or afternoon, whatever time that you guys are watching this video. I pray that everyone is in great spirits. I pray that everyone is taking care of themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. I love you guys so much. And as always, the love and support that you show me on this channel is always greatly appreciated. Guys, as you can tell by the title of this video, we're about to get into some things today. I have something very serious that I want to talk with you guys about. And as you can tell by the title of this video, I will be discussing street gangs and their connection to occults and witchcraft. I know this may be a sensitive topic for many. And I will be honest with you guys, this is a very sensitive topic for me. Reason being, I was raised in a community that became dominated by street gangs. I went to school with people who were involved in gangs. I have people in my family to this very day that are involved in street gangs. I myself has been affiliated with a street gang. Guys, I'm not perfect. I've experienced some things. I will say that although I was affiliated with these people, I never participated in the things that they did as a gang, as an organization. But I will say that me befriending these people, me hanging out with these people, made me an affiliate by association. And I saw some things that I didn't see before until the Most High brought it to my attention. I have departed ways with anyone that is associated with a street gang to this very day. And it is because the Most High showed me a lot of the detriment that comes with being associated with someone that is a part of something as violent and traumatizing as being a part of a street gang. Guys, this is a very, very sensitive topic for me. I just want to say, and the Most High gave me a lot of strength and courage to come forth with this video today. I want to give you guys a short backstory before I get fully into this video. This video is rather long, but very important. And I really would appreciate if you guys took the time out to watch this video. I first off want to say that if you or anyone that you know is involved in the street gang at this time, this is a message that it may be time to denounce. The Most High is not happy with people who participate in gangs. He brought it to my attention. And not only did he bring it to my attention, he showed me why he doesn't approve. Not only is there a lot of violence involved with being a part of something as such in the first place, but there's also a lot of dark things that takes place behind the scenes that many are not aware of. Even a lot of people that are involved in the gang or associated with the gang themselves, many are not aware of a lot of the dark arts that takes place behind the scenes. Guys, there are over 33,000 active criminal street gangs, prison gangs, and motorcycle gangs in the United States to this very day. And there are so many communities and neighborhoods and families that have been corrupted by the hands of gang violence. And I've witnessed this, guys. I've witnessed many hurt and traumatized family members as a result of gang violence in my community. And with drugs, weapons, and sex trafficking, these things are involved as well. Theft, robbery, extortion, even gang stalking programs. There are many gang members who are involved in gang stalking programs. And guys, I was not aware of this. The Most High brought this to my attention. I also made a video maybe about a year ago about how many gang members are hired to be gang stalkers in targeted individual communities. Not to mention the rival gang wars that takes place in communities. The innocent people that are sometimes caught up in the crossfire of these retaliation wars. These things leave family, friends, and loved ones devastated. And it's due to the injuries and the lives that are lost of their families and friends that are involved in or affiliated with the gang. And as I mentioned earlier, as well as innocent people who were hurt, who had no involvement. Family members, innocent bystanders who became a victim of retaliation war. And, when you think about witchcraft and the types of people who will participate in the dark arts, would you yourself even consider gang members as sorcerers and secret occult members? What if I told you that not only are there several criminal gangs, throughout the U.S. that engage in witchcraft and secret cult groups, but this has been going on since the 1980s and it's still going on to this very day. There's a lot of witchcraft going on, and in so many different aspects of life, the enemy is trying to wither his way in any way that he knows how. And at this time, he is using witchcraft to dominate over a lot of people and a lot of things. And in today's video, guys, I will be discussing various street gangs and their participation in the dark arts, and how this involvement has added to the destructive actions and behavior patterns of gang members and affiliates that has not only drastically affected their communities, but has also created a vicious cycle of generational curses throughout their families. And according to online research, most street gangs were not influenced by dark spirituality. Even though being in a gang does involve you committing a lot of violent activities, many of these people still believed in God, even though they were participating in violent crimes as a gang member. But when many of them went to prison, they tapped into the dark arts. And it makes you think, as if being in a gang isn't dark enough, now they're tapping into the dark arts, opening more portals for more demonic entities to come through. Because please believe, guys, when you are involved in things like that, you are being driven by something dark. You have to be driven by something dark to participate in the specific activities that are involved, with being a part of this. And it is also said that these gangs, their violent rate increased as a result of their participating in witchcraft. I'm going to give you guys an example. This is something that I came across that stood out to me. One of the first gangs in prison that converted to witchcraft was the Mexican Mafia. And they actually, once they did tap into the dark arts, they created a forbidding rule within their gang that banned their members from picking up the Bible or adopting any forms of Christianity. So, they went from the point of being a part of something violent and still believing in the Most High to going to prison, tapping into witchcraft, and just forbidding the Bible or anything involved with God in their lives, period. The Mexican cartel members are also known to use bruja, which is Spanish for a female witch, and brujo for a Spanish male witch, that reside in Mexico and the U.S. to assist them. And they do so by giving them psychic readings, alerting them of any future or past betrayals or mishaps, and to also cast spells on law enforcement to keep them away, and also protective spells to protect them against rival gang members and drug dealers. Now, brujeria is the Spanish word used to describe Afro-Caribbean witchcraft, which they also participated in as well. And this practice includes cleansing rituals, folk magic religion known as Santeria, and this includes fortune telling and psychic readings. Also, they perform rituals where they contacted and communicated with spirits, spirits of their ancestors, also orishas, and they use these rituals in order to worship their ancestors as well as these paganistic deities. And these rituals included dancing, giving food offerings, even animal sacrifices. And they did all of this in exchange for power, protection, fortune, spiritual knowledge, and as well as supernatural powers. I'm guessing this is to perform magic. Now, guys, there is so much underlying deception when it comes to witchcraft and divination. A lot of the times people feel that just because they're doing magic and participating in divination, which divination is where you perform rituals and you gain knowledge from deities. And a lot of people say that they gain knowledge from their ancestors as well. Now, the deception lies within them not knowing that the spirits associated with these forms of the dark arts are demonic. And these demonic spirits are also the spirits that disguise themselves as familiar and monitoring spirits. These are also the same spirits that can jump into the body of low vibrating people to come around and monitor you, intrude your privacy, ask you all sorts of questions so they can go back and report to the Dark Kingdom. Now, these familiar spirits and monitoring spirits are the ones that are leading the people who seek them into further destruction, especially when they are already involved in violent criminal activity. See, the portals are already opening, which is leading them to down the road to participate in darker activities. It goes from participating in criminal violence to now participating in witchcraft. Now, street gangs such as the Mexican cartel, they use brujas to place hexes on their enemies, prosecutors, or even police officers, and of course, rival gang members. And this is according to Almonte, a former U.S. Marshal for the Western District of Texas. He did an investigation and he found out that the Mexican cartel was using witchcraft in order to commit a lot of their crimes, in order to get away with a lot of the drug trafficking that they were involved in. Also, according to CorrioJournal.com, there isn't a specific set of rules or a guidebook for the brujas to go by. Both are known for conducting tarot card readings. And when I say both, I mean a curandero, which is a Mexican spiritual healer. The bruja and the curandero both are known for conducting tarot card readings, spell castings, and cleansing rituals for the Mexican cartel. And since the enemy is great at deceiving his followers, it shouldn't be a surprise, guys, that many of the spells that these people are casting, they backfire. And a lot of the predictions that are coming from these brujas are not accurate. And I'm going to give you guys an example. November 10th, 2020 marked an unfortunate time for Mexican cartel member Fausto Paz, who was pulled over by a Washington State police officer. The officer searched Paz's Dodge Ram and GMC Sierra that was attached to a trailer. Once he did so, he seized 34 packages totaling to 34 pounds of meth, which totaled to $150,000. Now, when Paz informed his Mexican cartel leaders about the $150,000 worth of seized drugs, one of the cartel leaders, they didn't believe Paz. So he consulted a bruja, which he referred to as his godmother. And the bruja predicted that Paz actually stole the drugs and secretly planned to sell them and keep the money. Now, the Mexican cartel leader, him believing his godmother's prediction, which his name was Sanudo, he ordered the other fellow cartel members to kidnap Paz from his home in Ontario, California. Sanudo, he then ordered the kidnappers to hook Paz's genitals up to a car battery using jumper cables, threatening to shock him unless he revealed where he was hiding the missing drugs. Now, at this time, the Tacoma, Washington law enforcement had placed wires on Sanudo as well as other cartel members once they were aware of the kidnapping. Now, as a result, Ontario officers, they rushed into Paz's home, proving that they really seized the drugs. This was in order to save his life. And once they got to the home, the officers found the kidnapper hiding in the closet. And according to investigators, they believe that if they would not have arrived in time, Paz would have been tortured and unalived, all because of the Bruja's false prediction. Now, Exodus 22, verse 18 says, "You shall not tolerate a sorcerer." Leviticus 20, verse 27 says, "A man or a woman who has a ghost or familiar spirit shall be put to death. They shall be pelted with stones, and the blood guilt is theirs." So God warns us about, participating in the dark arts, as well as associating ourselves with others who participate in magic and divination. Because false gods and ancient deities, as well as evil spirits, are the dark supernatural powers that are the orchestrators of magic and sorcery, witchcraft, and divination. Also, false illusions, visions, and predictions, also happens when it comes to contacting these brujas as well. And there's also demonic spirits that are attached with even consulting these people, which will also allow you to see false illusions, visions, and even to hear false predictions in your mind. And when it comes to street gangs, which is already demonic within itself, adding witchcraft and divination to the equation is just the icing on the cake. Guys, let's think about gang initiation. When a prospective associate, and this is, a potential candidate to be, a gang member, they have to participate in gang-related activities as a means of proving their loyalty in hopes of becoming a full-fledged member. This is including being jumped in by current members. They must survive the physical attack in order to prove how tough they are. They may have to put in work. This is when a potential member performs physical acts of random violence, that is assigned to them by a gang leader. And, these activities can consist of any violent street crimes, from stealing even to unaliving rival gang enemies. Guys, these are gang initiation rituals. Anything that is associated with a ritual is associated to witchcraft and divination. These things open up portals for more demonic influence to take place. Also, when you think about the rules and actions that are associated with being in a gang, it's demonic, and it demonstrates occult-like activities, like wearing a specific color, proving your involvement in loyalty. Once you're a full member, you begin to learn specific gang signs and handshakes and greetings. The same as occult groups such as the Divine Nine sororities and fraternities, and even the Freemasons that have secret handshakes. Also, there's secret handwritings. There's secret oaths that one must go by in order to prove their lifelong dedication as a member or an affiliate. There's a lot of gangs that require being unalived as the only option to denouncing as a member. So, I'm not trying to, I really don't, at this time, guys, I am sounding like what I'm sounding like, because I'm not coming at you guys as someone that hasn't experienced these things. I'm coming at you guys as someone that has experienced these things, and the Most High pulled me out of these things, and He blessed me with this knowledge to share with you guys. As anyone who has participated in these things, as anyone who is affiliated with someone who's participating in these things, or someone who's trying to warn someone about participating in these things, because you see trouble coming you see them getting deeper and deeper into darkness, and you're trying to warn them, you know, as a message from the Most High to pull them out. This could be a confirmation video. So I, as an adult, I don't feel bad at all about presenting this information. And a lot of the times when you present things like this, when you're from, you know, communities where gangs are dominant, people may call you a snitch, or they may call you, you know, say you've changed or you're not acting the same. Who cares? Who cares? You cannot serve two masters. And I chose to serve the Most High Yah, and this is what he instructed me to do, so this is what I'm doing. Because I'm just picking up on, you know, an energy that a lot of people are not going to approve of this video, and that's fine. I'm going to continue on. I feel that this has to be said. A lot of people don't want to talk about this. You know, these things that you have to do to be a gang member is no different from witches and their covenants. You know, it's causing havoc in your community. You know, it's like making a deal with the devil. Only the things that you know, receive in return is being controlled by a demonic force. You know, guys, let's face it. You have to be in a dark place mentally and spiritually in order to conduct or orchestrate violence on a consistent basis. And, you know, it's very sad because majority of the people who join gangs are usually in need to feel a sense of acceptance. You know, they may need to feel a form of protection. They may want to belong because they have abandonment issues. They may be experiencing a lack of boundaries, you know, in their household, not facing accountability for their actions. You know, as a child or an adolescent, even a preteen, you know, there's no boundaries in their household. So they feel that they can do whatever they want to do. And many young people who are misguided, they join violent street gangs without fully knowing what they are getting themselves into until it's too late. You know, and these things result in a life of violence, drug use, incarceration, mental, physical, and spiritual detriment, and even, you know, possibly being unalived. There's a high chance of being unalived. And, you know, not only that, guys, it also creates a demonic soul tie that is created, binding everyone involved spiritually, causing members to undergo the same mishaps and misfortunes as their fellow gang members. It's like your souls are connected. And this affects the mental state. It causes depression, anxiety, and paranoia. Now I'm going to show you guys some clips, and I will be right back.
One thing I can tell you for a fact is that every gang that you could possibly think of deal with demons and they deal with the devil. I'm gonna give you some facts. If you're in a real gang, or if you're trying to be in a real gang, once upon a time, a long time ago, for me, it's all about blood. If that's a real gang and they're really about that, they require blood. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? In order to have prominence in the streets, especially high prominence, respect and fear, you gotta be dealing with the devil. Because if it's a real gang, like Italian mobs, like the Sicilian mob, like any mob, it takes blood to be a part of them. You have to shed blood, sacrifice a soul for a name, a position, and a rank that don't mean nothing. Shout out to everybody that got out of it, because it's a demonic world.
Basically, you would come to a high priest and you would tell the high priest, listen, I'm about to do something, right? And would you ask your protector to protect me? So what they would do is they would have a coconut, and then they would have shells, and they would read from the shells, and they would tell you the future. They would tell you by the spirit would speak to them, and this is real, like real stuff, like black magic. They call it black magic.
I've heard of that, yeah.
It's the same thing.
Black magic.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So blood rituals, They would kill. They would sacrifice animals,
Like a chicken.
a chicken, a goat. It could be anything, and they would feed their saints. They would feed their saints. That's what they called, idols. And they'd be like, hey, make sure you protect this person.
Wow.
And then they have to pay a lot of money for it. It's not something that's, we're gonna do it for free. So you gotta pay the high priest good money, so you can get protected.
And no one's like raising any eyebrows of like goats going into this building or chickens or nothing.
No, because in New York City they have marketplaces. They can cut the butchers. They could do it there. So what they do is they buy the butcher. They buy from there, take it, and have they'll do sacrifices. But they will do it in a place that nobody won't know. It's very secretly. Like everything I'm saying is very secret. Like nobody doesn't know. People do know what it is, but they won't come out and say it. They won't expose it.
So what's a scenario where this has protected you? Say if you were dealing drugs or running something or whatever you were doing, how did this protect you in a moment?
In a moment, that it will keep me away. Like it will keep the police or whatever, the ops, away from the situation. Spiritually, sometimes they won't. Sometimes it will. It's like a guessing game, and this is the thing about spirituality. Like people do it for the money, or sometimes the people are really warlocks, and they can speak to the dead.
Jail gang models, the blood marches. I've been there 100 times, and I get a phone call to go home. When I get home, my mother tell me my brother was killed. But what it did for me, it took me to another visible line of the gang line. I would smoke drugs and drink alcohol, and it take me to a realm of murder. There's certain lines we can cross in life we don't understand that take us deeper and deeper. Let's say killing. You never killed before, and somebody take you out to do a drive-by or a walk-up or just a hit. That's a line you cross, because once you do it, you've crossed the line to where next time it get easier and easier. When I use drugs, I can hear the murdering spirit say murder, kill. Let's go kill somebody tonight. Shoot out all the lights tonight. The weed with the alcohol and the drugs, along with the music, is nothing but a pure witchcraft. Because the weed opens you up and the music get in your spirit.
I was saying, if you don't know, or if you don't even have a clue, like operating in a gang is witchcraft, basically, knowingly and unknowingly. Some is blatant witchcraft, and some is like subliminal witchcraft. All the signs and all that is all witchcraft. The stars and the symbols, the hand signals is all demonic, and it's basically like the occult. And its roots come back from, demonic influences, demonic in nature. So I'm going to expose that, and that's what we're going to be getting into.
All right, butterflies, as you guys saw in the title of the last video clip, it was mentioning being under the influence of the octopus spirit. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what the octopus spirit is and how it relates to being in a gang. Now, the octopus spirit is a controlling spirit that uses its tentacles, and each tentacle represents a demonic force in a sin of the flesh. And the sin of the flesh depends on its targeted victim. Now, the head represents the spirit of idolatry or witchcraft and mind control and manipulation. The octopus spirit is, according to Emily Lewis Rose Ministries.com, the world's most popular demon called Cthulhu. Now, this demonic force has been depicted in several movies, music, stories, and video games. An example of the Cthulhu octopus spirit is actually depicted as Ursula in the Disney movie The Little Mermaid. So a lot of these things that we experience spiritually is depicted in a lot of the movies and music and video games. A lot of things connected with social media that we may watch or involve ourselves in, because The enemy uses these things to draw us in. It's like a form of witchcraft. And the tentacles, spiritually, it holds a sin that entangles whoever is attached to it. And the controlling actions are coming from the head of the octopus spirit. And with this being said, it's actually controlling the actions of the inhabitor. Okay, now the video clip, guys, which was actually the last clip, where the guy was talking about using alcohol and drugs in conjunction with the demonic music. He was saying that this is what influenced him to carry out the violent activities of an active gang member. Now, this demonic spirit, the Cthulhu spirit, is very popular amongst groups such as witch covenants, occults such as the Freemasons, fraternities, sororities, atheist groups, even street gangs. Anything that's being conducted in an evil way involving groups of people. This is how the octopus spirit makes its way in and begins to control the entire situation. This spirit is present in any group or organization where there are leaders and there are members and associates, because there has to be a head and then there has to be, the followers. And they participate in violence, dark arts, things that are orchestrated and introduced by the leaders and carried out by the members and associates. And this is what the octopus spirit does. It creeps in, it adapts to the environment, seeking out what sin is being tempted in the situation, and it manipulates and drives the people that it targets into that sin. And it holds them there and it keeps them entangled in that sin. Hard for them to break away from it. And it's like that with a lot of street gangs. A lot of people get into these things and they feel that it has such a hold on them. It's hard for them to break away from it. And this is the spirit that's making them feel that way. Now, when you think about it, each leader has specific rules and guidelines. And this is what the leader uses to keep control over the members. Now, the head of the octopus represents the gang leaders, keeping the members entangled in spiritual sin, controlling them by rules and guidelines, even consequences if the rules and guidelines are broken. This is to keep them in line. And according to an online research article, a person may not be aware of the presence of an octopus spirit because these demons are very intelligent. And just like a regular octopus, they have the ability to adapt to their environment by changing shape and color. Meaning that this spirit can get into anything and anyone in order to manipulate and control its victim. Whether it's music, whether it's drugs, whether it's the influence of another person. Meaning this spirit can be deceptive in many ways without your acknowledgement. The octopus spirit's motive is to use whatever sin a person is likely to give into and cause them to use it in a bad or imbalanced manner. And this also causes the person to adopt obsessive, addictive, and destructive behavior patterns that spiritually becomes that person, making it hard for them to break away from the sin. Now, guys, I want to talk to you guys about something that took place December 6th, just 5 days ago. And this story is another example as to why it is not safe to reach out to psychics, voodoo priests, witch doctors, spiritual healers, anything of that nature. witches, warlocks. The Most High forbids these things, and it's because they're being controlled by demonic spirits. These spirits are deceptive. And here's another example of someone involved in the gang being deceived by a demonic spirit. December 6th this year, actually just 5 days ago, Haitian gang leaders unalives 184 people over a witchcraft accusation. I'm sorry, guys. I meant to say a Haitian gang, not Haitian gang leaders. A Haitian gang unalived 184 people over a witchcraft accusation. And according to Aljazeera.com, 184 people were unalived just over this weekend. And 130 of those people were over the age of 60 years old. The gang members were said to have burnt the bodies and threw them in the sea. And this vicious attack was orchestrated by Makano, a powerful Haitian gang leader, after contacting a voodoo priest who advised him that the elderly people in his community formed witchcraft on his son, making him sick. And as a result, his son passed away Saturday, December 7th. And I am very sad to hear that about his son. As a result of this, the gang unalived 60 people on Friday this past weekend and 50 people on Saturday this past weekend using machetes and knives. And also, according to the International Organization for Migration, 41,000 people were forced from their homes in the past 2 weeks as a result of Haitian gun violence. Guys, you know, this is another example of how this person was driven by the octopus spirit. Now, manipulation from this spirit can make you feel justification for committing a major sin, such as unaliving someone. And in this case, Makano sought advice from a witch, a voodoo priest, who was receiving their information from a demonic spirit. Because in reality, guys, the enemy is not our friend. He solely operates through wickedness and deception. And if these people are receiving their information from demonic spirits, they're being deceived, as well as the people that they're advising. The octopus spirit influenced this gang leader that he will seek justification by unaliving those people without full confirmation that the prediction from the voodoo priest was true. And even if it was true, that is a very brutal thing to do. The right thing to do would have been to contact law enforcement, but unaliving that many people without knowing, especially without knowing the soul, I'm not going to say he didn't know the sole reason behind it, but he didn't know if it was true. He didn't know if the motive for him doing what he was doing was accurate. He really went off of what someone else told him, and he acted on that, in conjunction with other demonic spirits operating through him and his emotions on top of that. Especially also when you're involved in the gang, these demonic portals are already being opened to begin with because you're already participating in dark activities. And this is also what allowed the enemy to further use Makano in the flesh to do his evil deeds. Because with the octopus spirit, another main motive is to entangle you into the sin until, that sin becomes you. And you are now working for the enemy. And the enemy has your spirit captive and it's operating through your flesh. You know, people can become involved in gangs and it's like it becomes their entire life. It's like they're being controlled by the gang leaders. They're being controlled by rival enemies because they feel limited to specific areas in their communities. You know, it's because if they go into these certain areas, there's a chance that they can be caught lacking by a rival enemy. You know, so with all of this going on, the mind isn't free because no matter what, you know, they're consistently looking over their shoulder. The family is also at risk, you know, for gang retaliation war as well. This causes a lot of pressure on the family, a lot of anxiety, depression, paranoia. It's like when you're in a gang, you're being held captive by the enemy, being entangled in sin, such as with the octopus spirit. It's because the gang requires you to live a life of sin. It's like you're under a spell. Robbing, stealing, unaliving, kidnapping, selling drugs, gang stalking, trafficking. You know, these are all demonic things that take place when you're in a gang. So there's no surprise that someone participating in these type of activities would turn to witchcraft. Because participating in these type of activities, they've already walked away from the Most High. So the portals are already open. The enemy is already there guiding them into further destruction. And this is not to bash anyone, but it's the truth, guys. When you think about it, what good is happening when you're involved in a gang? There's nothing good about it. All the unaliving, all the harm that's being done, it's for no reason at all. The sole purpose cannot even be explained. If you ask the person why they were in a gang and why they did what they did, they probably couldn't even really explain it. A lot of people may say because friends and family members before them were involved in this gang and they're carrying out a legacy. A lot of people may say it's because these people showed them love. Whatever the reason may be, it's no excuse to be involved in something so violent, so dark, so vicious, so traumatizing. Romans chapter 6 verse 14 says, "For sin shall not have dominion over you, for ye are not under the law but under grace." These people, these gang leaders, they seek to have so much control over the members. They send them out on missions, you know, and they hide behind the scenes a lot of the times. And that's exactly what the octopus spirit does. It knows how to adapt to its environment. It knows when to hide. It knows when to make itself present to its prey. And this can go in many ways. A lot of people that are in gangs, they are really being used as a target for someone else's mistakes or someone else's actions. A lot of the times people also don't realize the generational curse that follows with being involved in the street gang, because a lot of the people that are in gangs is through what they call a family tradition. A lot of them join a gang because a fellow family member or a friend, you know, or a loved one was involved in this gang and they're carrying out the legacy. Because their father done it, because their mother done it, their brother or their sister. And a lot of the times these people that they're carrying out these legacies for, they're either in prison or they've been unalived as a result of their participation in the gang. There's also a lot of dark negative soul ties that are created. People don't understand that when you join a gang, you are now in an occult. And everyone that is in that cult with you, your souls are connected. So a lot of the times you may experience things that doesn't even seem real. It doesn't seem like you're yourself when when your soul is connected with that many people. You may be feeling the pain of someone else. You may be experiencing something from a fellow gang member. You may even feel the spiritual energy from an unalived gang member because there's so much darkness taking place. It's like a repeated dark cycle. You know, and the pain from these soul ties can also cause family and friends of gang members to go through things as well. I feel that it is a curse that needs to be broken. I feel that if you or anyone that you know is involved in the gang, it's time to denounce. If you're looking at this video right now, if you're watching this video, the Most High is calling you out to denounce the gang tie and to spread awareness about gang violence. Or it may be a sign for you to advise someone else that the Most High may have been sending you to talk to about being in the gang, to denounce from the gang and warn everyone about gang violence, because it's such a dominant part of our community, and our communities are so traumatized that we've become desensitized to gangs and gang violence. It's because a lot of the people that we know are in gangs, many people in our families. This is a true thing that is happening that a lot of people are not talking about. It's something darker than what we see in the physical that is taking place with these gangs. There's something dark going on spiritually. To even have the mindset in the spirit to go out and unalive people, to do other harmful things in your community. There's something dark taking place behind the scenes. That's why we always must remember that things that take place in the physical, it happens in the spiritual first. For any of you who feel that this is a sign that you should walk away from a gang, if you are involved in one, you know, pray to God for guidance and protection through this. This is your confirmation to walk away. If you know someone and you've been talking to them about walking away, you know, this is their sign to walk away, and for them to pray to God for guidance and protection as well. You can also do things like start or participate in gang violence prevention programs. And guys, I'm thinking about doing it as well. And one of my ways to show the Most High how serious I am about spreading awareness, starting with making this video today. Even before that, walking away nearly 10 years ago from people who were even involved in gangs to begin with. That was my first step. Guys, this is a very serious topic, and I just feel that as believers of God, we have to, you know, become spiritually aware of everything that's going on around us, especially things that causes harm and detriment. And being in a gang is one of them, as well as being affiliated with gangs or even knowing someone that's in one. If you guys know someone that's in a gang right now, please pray for them. Please pray for their protection and deliverance at this time. Share this video, guys. Send this video to someone that you feel should receive this message at this time. I hope you guys like this video. I love you guys so much. Continue to take care of yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually, guys. Once you're fully connected with God and you're praying on a consistent basis, always pay attention to what God shows you and, you know, trust your intuition. All right. I love you guys so much. I have more content coming your way. And until the next video, peace and blessings. Mwah.